Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing selections and football selections for Saturday the 21st of February. I've had no end of problems this morning with the sound and trying to record my screen. As you can see, I've just clicked the sound button now and it's taken ages to load up. So I've just turned the sound up there for you, so hopefully that's a lot better. Anyway, let me get into it because I don't even know if this screen is recording. If it isn't recording, well, you're going to have to listen to the commentary. So what I will say is I have picked a 5 pence each way at Lucky 63. I have picked 6 horses at huge prices. And I also have had a small each way single on each of those. Realistically, the size of the prices, I cannot be confident they will come in the first 3, 4, or 5, depending how many places the bookmaker pays out on. But I've also had a lucky 15, an each way lucky 15, where I think there's some horses with decent chances. So let me get into it. So for me, it's not a fantastic day's racing. It's okay. Nothing more than that, really. So yeah. So the first bet is. Oh, this is really slow. It's a 50 pence each way, lucky 15, 50p each way singles. So the first selection is Rising Dust in the 335 at Kempton. I'm not going to go too much into it. It's trained by Emmett Mullins. It's in fantastic form. What it is basically, it's improving very quickly. However, the handicap mark has gone up quite a lot as well. But I do think the actual weight the horse is carrying, I think it's 10 stone 4, will make it extremely competitive. I think it's got a decent chance based on that. The horse, we don't know what the top ceiling is yet of this horse. It is progressing very quickly. It's got Sean Bowen on board, which I'm quite happy about. I don't very often, for some unknown reason, back many of Sean Bowen's, not because of the jockey, just that's how things are. Maybe he's on too many favourites, I don't know, or I don't know. Maybe he's on the horses that I normally try and avoid, try and get them beat. But yeah, it's on this one, trained by Emmett Mullins, and I think it's got a decent chance at 9-1, paying first 4. I think it's got a sneak. The next selection is Viraflay at 15-2 in the 5 past 4 at Kempton. So there's 3 front runners in this race. This is the only front runner out of those 3 that stays a lot better over further. I did see this horse when it ran against a horse in Ireland. I can't remember, is it called It's on the Line? I can't remember. It regularly runs at Cheltenham. It's normally a short price favourite. It's on the line, but it put the wind up it a bit when it was in decent form. It actually, this Veriflay went miles clear, and it wasn't until they really got stuck into the favourite that they managed to reel this Veriflay by. That was either I think it was the beginning, but about May of last year. It has ran okay since. It has run over further, and it's always led, and it will lead, probably lead again. It has got that horse called, I think it's called Etalon by Harry Skelton. I did tip it when it won at 18-1, and it blasted from the front. But I think they might not take this Viraflay on with Etalon, and they might just let Viraflay go off in front. It's got Olive Nichols on board. I think she's okay, nothing more than that. She claims 5. I think she's an okay jockey. She's probably the £5 probably reflects how good she is. She needs more experience, but she's okay. I was a bit disappointed with a horse that she rode last time I tipped, called Faisal, that runs today, that I forgot to back, and I might have a little bit each way on it. So I'm not putting in any bet. It's called Faisal. Have a look for it. I can't remember what time race it is, but it's in a 2 mile 5 at Kempton. It's got a chance. It ran behind Ibereco Lord. It is Ibereco Lord, isn't it? Um, I thought that day she was travelling really well, but allowed all the horses that were held up to get into contention when she could have nudged the horse to get a bit of a head start on them, first run, as you call it. But she didn't, and she was swamped. And in the end, it stayed on for 4th, but it should have finished a lot closer to the winning that day, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm going off track now. So Viraflay is the second selection. The third, the third selection is Gloria Heights at 12-1 in the 135 at Newcastle. Competitive hurdle, but I definitely think this horse, is one of the more, I'm struggling to use the word progressive, but horse with ability that's heading slightly in the right direction. It's a terrible race, and I just think it's horse that races prominently, and it went clear last time, and it only got pegged back towards the finish. I don't think there's too many horses that are really going to go after this horse and show the enthusiasm or the tenacity to try and pull this one back. It's a poor race, so I'm thinking if this one could go clear or take the lead with 3-4 to jump, it could be hard to peg back. And 12-1 each way, I couldn't knock it. The fourth selection is Mr. Vango in the 243 at Newcastle. So it's the Ida Chase. I did want to back Dom of Mary, and I still could have. I've not really been put off it, but I have been swayed to Mr. Vango. It ran disappointing last time. The jockey booking, I've purely gone for the jockey booking because we all know pretty much how Mr. Vango runs, straight to the front, likes to ping its fences. But I'm a big fan of David Bass, more so when he used to ride for Kim Bailey. Because when he rode for Kim Bailey, he used to ride horses where he used to go from the front and really kick them into the fences and attack fences. And that's the kind of jockey where you can get, sometimes you can get 1, 2 or 3 lengths, pinch 1 to 3 lengths per fence sometimes when you see a decent stride. And I have seen David Bass give many horses a decent ride from the front, and that is literally what has swayed me. I think it could be a come and get me. If Mr. Van Gogh gets filled up with confidence, you could see a different horse today. So I do really like the look of that one. So fingers crossed, really. So this is the huge price. So what I've also had is, so 50p each way, look 15, 50p each way singles, then I've had a 50p each way accumulator. That's what you're looking at now. So let me just scroll down to the right. We're there. So the 5 pence each way, lucky 63 and 50p each way on all of them. So the first selection is Embrace the Day at 40-1 in the 238 at Fairy House. I've gone to Ireland to have a bet. So I just think it's a little bit more unexposed than the rest of them. And it's basically got a bit of an each way sneak. It's 40-1. I just thought the 40-1 was way too big. The second selection is Passage de Moi at 200-1 in the 140 at Chepstow. This horse ran okay last time. It was only, I believe, 8 days ago. It ran it in a very competitive race. However, it was quite well beaten, but they were very well spread out, and I believe it was over course and distance. It was never put in the race, but today's race, they are rated about 112 or 111. The winner that day, I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? The Skelton horse, Bossman something. It got a racing post rating of 142. Don't get me wrong, nothing could keep with it. But even the second, I believe that got 120. I think it was. The fourth horse, I think it still got about 105, and this one came about. I think it came about 6th that day. Never put in the race, but I do like the fact that it's 200-1. I can't knock that. There are quite a few horses in this race. My only concern is, like with all 6 of the horses, they don't get put in the race. They are there for a schooling session and, air quotes, education. That's the only worry I have. If they actually run on merit and actually what I've looked at and how I think they'll progress, I can give them a chance. The problem is, sometimes you see 2 races. The really fancied horses go 20 lengths clear, and you get 2 races where you get 4 other runners, just where the jockeys are basically talking to each other. So I hope that doesn't turn out, but it probably will. But 200-1 is for the sake of a quid, and I think the bet comes to about £12, £12 in total, something like that. Yeah, something like that. So I just think 200-1 is way too big. The next selection is Au Plaisir at 8-1 in the 5-1 at Newcastle. So this horse is interesting because I thought it ran an absolute cracker. Another horse that was never put in the race. However, my concern is the fact that it. I think it said very slightly struck into on the right off 4 or something like that. Anyway, one of its legs. Well, it's reappearing quite quickly, so I'm not quite sure what's going off there. But it did run a decent race. Once again, I believe the race was at Kelso, and there were decent horses. The fourth horse was one of Nicky Richards', and it was a lot shorter. To say it had never been over hurdles before, never ran before, but it was quite a short price. I'm talking 7-1 when basically the rest of them were huge prices, and the fancied horses. It was something. There was something like 1-2, 6-4, and then you got like 100-30, something daft like that. You got 3 horses that it was expected to be between. You got a fourth horse, which was a Nicky Richards horse, which never ran before, but some decent comments made about it. And then you'd got ridiculous price. The rest. This was one of the ridiculous prices, but it finished quite close up. I think it was being about 8 lengths to the Nicky Richards horse, which was quite promising that day, but it was on heavy ground. And I'm just thinking maybe there might be a bit more progression and it could sneak into a place. Realistically, we're not going to win, but we could sneak into a place. We're not wishing for this, but we only need a couple of fallers, something going off really quickly, and a false race, where they go off too quick and then they fall in a bit of a heap. Anything can happen, but you get some very dangerous prices there. The next selection is Cold Henry at 22-1 in the 135 at Newcastle. So this runs in the same race as Glory Heights in the other bet. But Cold Henry, I think it's quite interesting because it's going to be. I think it's good to soft ground at Newcastle. It's quite hard work at times, but I think Cold Henry will like the more galloping track. It ran at Hexham and it was held up that day. That would not have suited it. Although it's a very undulating track, it's quite a tight track. And once you get behind at Hexham, it's very difficult to get into contention. Cold Henry from the flat is basically a stayer. And I wouldn't normally go for this type of horse because what it's been doing is it's been running over about 2 mile on the flat, and this is a 2 mile one race at Newcastle. And it kind of contradicts what I've done in the past where it doesn't suit these kind of horses. However, I think it will be one of the very few that is actually still staying on in this race because I think it's a very poor race. And this Cold Henry has only ran 3 times and it has shown promise over hurdles. Don't get me wrong, at a low standard, but I do think it's got a bit of a chance. The next selection is From Here to Eternity at 25-1 in the 320 at Newcastle. And it's been 4 hours messing around with the sound. And I honestly can't remember exactly why I picked that one. But if you take a look for yourself, see if you like the look of it. And if you do, back it. The next selection is Bennyworth at 50-1 in the 352 at Lingfield. And the same applies to this one. Can't remember exactly why I picked it, but 50-1, 25-1 the previous horse, they've got chances. And let me just say, regarding last night's run of Constitution Hill, I wasn't going to mention it because I did want to mention it, but because the recording software isn't working properly, I didn't want to go into too much detail. But what I will say is, I'm more than happy that I lost my £9 that I put on. Was it Square Necker? Because I think ultimately, deep down, a lot of us wanted to see a superstar come back. Admittedly, it won very well. I was very impressed, and I think a lot of people were. And you could see them cheering. Southall was packed. That all them people near the finish post, that was Southall packed. And what I didn't realise is it's got me. There was a picture of my uncle there as well. So I didn't even realize I only live 10 miles from the course, so it was quite interesting, and it was a huge day. Huge event for Southall. In the end, they got a lot of criticism for putting the event on based around Constitution Hill, but I think it was a success in the end. So Constitution Hill in that race. Personally, I would like to see it running the champion hurdle if they could promise me that it would come back safe and sound. I think everybody would. I think everybody thinks the same, in my opinion. If we could guarantee that Constitution Hill would come back safe and sound, let it take its chance in the champion hurdle. However, nobody can guarantee that. So I'm desperate. I'm going on the Tuesday to Cheltenham. and I kind of want to see it there, but if anything happens that day, there'll be a permanent cloud over that day for the rest of the day, and also over Nicky Henderson, over his decision making, because the warning signs have been there over hurdles. We've seen what it can do on the flat. We don't know exactly what it beat, because technically it beat horses rated maybe around £20 inferior over hurdles. So I think constitutional, I think it's still rated in 160s, maybe even 170. I think Triple Flyer, I think that's in the 140s. Triple Flyer were beating absolute miles. I do believe Triple Flyer was literally, it was there for a racecourse gallop. What they did there, they helped force the pace. It took on the second favourite, Square Necker. Maybe they cut each other's throats very slightly. I'm not quite sure what the pace was during the race, but what I did see the sectionals for the last 2 furlong, and they were absolutely rapid. Constitutional was, I don't know how accurate and where, I don't know if they used a laser on the horse, where they point at the horse and they can work out what speed it's going. But it touched 40 mile an hour. 40 mile an hour is like, you're talking 6 and 7, probably 7 furlong horses regularly touch 40 mile an hour, and even then at the beginning of the race of a seven furlong race, they're saying they are going pretty quick. Well, normally towards the end of the race, although it looks as though they're going quick, normally at the end of the race, that's the slowest point of the race, depending on how the race turns out, kind of thing. But generally, they're not always. It's a bit deceiving where they're not always going as quick as what they look in the final couple of furlong. But the minimum I saw was 37 mile an hour with about 2.5 furlongs to go, and I saw 40 mile an hour. That is absolutely flying. The horse was nudged out. I was petrified in case it broke down, because I was thinking like it's probably possibly going quicker than it ever has done. So yeah, I'll just and then to be fair, it did bring a bit of a tear to my eyes, and like I was like really pleased. And I think it was quite decent to see Nicky Henderson and Michael Buckley after the race quite humble, if I'm being fair, because they've always come across as a bit. Nicky Henderson's always come across okay, but always a bit on the posh side, a bit snooty, in my opinion. But they did seem very humble, and they were very appreciative of the reception that they got by the people at Southwell. Because I know that Michael Buckley, when I listen to him, I don't know if he's a little bit of an introvert, or I don't know, but it did seem in interviews that I've seen him not the easiest person to listen to, really. A bit of a snob, really. I don't want to be horrible towards him, but yeah, but it didn't seem like that on Friday evening at Southwell. Sent very humble, sent very appreciative, and it did say that it was really happy, more happy so that the fact that the spectators had taken Constitution Hill to their hearts, and he was happiest. I think he was quoted I'm paraphrasing. He was happy at the fact that they'd taken that horse to their hearts. So yeah, I thought it was very, very heartwarming. In fact, to be honest, it sent a very pleasant evening. A lot of people were smiling. He is a fan's favourite, and I think he has silenced quite a few knockers, but I think it's more exciting of what it could do on the flat. Although, as I said, we don't know exactly what it beat, because they did say the second horse could be, they're thinking it could be a group horse. Thinking and actually being one is two different things. For me, I don't think you saw a Group 1 performer. Constitutional was a Group 1 performer at Southall on Friday night. So therefore, beating, what was it, 10, 11 lengths? Beating Square Necker by 10 lengths. Would you class it as a Group 3? No, I don't think you even saw a list of the performance that day for Square Necker. So I think Square Necker slightly underachieved. I think Gambino, which I also tipped, probably ran its race. So I would have tipped Constitution Hill last night. It would have been, in my opinion, a listed event winner. That's the kind of thing I'd have put it down as, and I'd have put Square Necker probably as similar to what his handicap mark is. Maybe slightly, as I said, slightly underachieved, mid 80s. Yeah, which is still decent going, but yeah, I just think the performance was extremely encouraging, let's put it that way, to finish off the race so strong. I didn't see the sectionals, as I said, early on or mid race, but I did see them last 2 furlong. And it looked as though they were going a decent pace throughout, in my opinion. As I said, I thought Square Necker and Triple Flyer kind of roughly set it up for, because it gave it a good toe into the race. It came in, it went between horses, and then it could barely hold it. And then I think it just had to organise Constitution Hill because I don't think it's not really used to that kind of acceleration. There's normally hurdles and being prepared for hurdles involved. So yeah, I don't want to waffle on too much, but I think it was extremely encouraging. I'd like to see Constitution Hill go over hurdles if you can guarantee that it's going to come back safe and sound, which nobody can. So therefore, maybe a flat campaign. But anyway, the football selections will be in the comments and description box. I wish you the very best of luck. Sorry about the screen. It might look normal to you, but I'm using completely different software. It's probably not even recording now. But anyway, I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out.